Hello, if you're new here, welcome, and if you are a regular of mine, welcome back. My name is Rane, and today I will be talking about the top 10 plants that I own out of my collection of over 100 plants. And I have chosen these 10 plants because they are my favorites, which is really hard. It's hard to choose favorites because I love all of my plants. But there was something about these top 10 plants that made me choose each one of them. So if for some reason I had to downsize, let's say I had to move or I just didn't have the capability to take care of all of the plants that I own right now, and I could only choose 10 of my entire collection, this video is going to showcase the list of those 10 plants that I chose. And it was really, really difficult. Let me just tell you, because there are a lot of plants that I really would not want to let go of. But the 10 that I chose are not only beautiful, they are also easy to take care of, and they're very hardy. So I love plants that are very forgiving, especially with underwatering, because I happen to be an underwaterer, probably because I am super scared of root rot. I'm so scared of giving my plants too much water and causing root rot because I have lost a few plants to root rot. So I err on the side of caution with the watering, and I let my soil, whatever substrate I'm using, to go completely dry before I water my plants again. But because of that habit, I do have a lot of plants that have browning leaves. So the 10 plants on this list can handle drought, and their leaves do not go brown when I let them go dry for a few days. So I'm going to save my most favorite, my top number 1 plant for last. So my top number 1 plant is going to be number 10. But before I get started with the list, I would like to invite you to a new community that I have just started. So at the time of me making this video right now, I have 6 new members, brand new members in my community. It is completely free, and I don't personally ask for your email. The only thing I'm asking is that you come into the community and make some friends with other planty people. We've been sharing our favorite plants with each other and the blooms that are currently happening with some of our plants. And let me just tell you, I had no idea that begonias had such beautiful flowers. One of the members in the community showed us a photo of her begonia that is flowering, and wow, that really makes me want to get more begonias. And I'm so glad that I actually have one, and I really hope that it's going to flower for me because wow, so beautiful. We have also agreed to do a live session together where we just get together and do our plant chores. So it will be a live session on the platform. We will introduce each other for the first 5 minutes, and then I will probably mute everyone, and you can either listen to the music I play or you can just listen to your own music, and we'll just be there together virtually doing our plant chores together. If that sounds like fun to you, something you want to participate in, you can go ahead and join my community. I'll put the link right here. I also have the link in my bio. It is still brand new, so if you join now, you will be one of the founding members, and you can help me to shape and grow the community over time. I hope to see you there. So on with the list. And number 1, Cebu Blue Pothos. So I have showcased this plant in previous videos. I really love this plant a lot. Right now, as I'm holding this, I can feel that it needs to be watered, but also for a few days, I have noticed that the leaves have started to get a little bit limp. So this plant actually communicates with me, and it lets me know when it starts to dehydrate and needs to be watered. And like I said, it's been a few days, and even though I have not watered it yet, it does not have any brown leaves. I love how forgiving this plant is. I also have this growing in a low light area of my house. When I first got the plant, I did have it in bright indirect sunlight and even some direct sunlight in the evening. So it kind of got full during that time. But once it was like grown out and very full and cascading, I put it into a low light area of my house, and it's doing just fine. It's been there for months, and the vines are still growing, but there aren't any leaves coming out at this point, which is fine because it's still so beautiful just the way that it is. And eventually I am going to cut off these ends and propagate them, but it's an absolutely gorgeous plant and it's so easy to take care of this thing. So if I did ever have to downsize, this would definitely be one that I would keep. Here is a closer look at my Cebu Blue hanging in my kitchen. I have chosen to keep it as a hanging plant for now, but one of these days I may propagate this plant and try to grow it up a moss pole. If I do this and give it lots of light, the leaves will grow very large and these will actually fenestrate. which means that the leaves will split. The leaves of this plant have a bluish tinge and they have a matte texture. Number 2 on my list is my Epipremnum pinnatum albo. So it is another pothos, but this one has milky white leaves, which is my favorite. I love milky white on the leaves. Unfortunately, I neglected this plant for a very long time after I got it. It was in the tiniest pot. I think it was like a 3-inch pot, and it had overgrown the pot. It was very root bound, and I didn't do anything about it for months. So I finally repotted it into a bigger pot. This is a 6-inch pot, and since putting it in here, it has not grown any new leaves yet. I'm suspecting that the roots are doing something inside. They're probably filling out. So I'm waiting for the day when all of a sudden it starts surging with growth. That's what I think is going to happen. At least that's what I hope for. But this has been definitely very, very forgiving. And pothos are known for being one of the plants that you just cannot kill. And I have let this thing get really dehydrated so many times. And there is a little bit of browning on the tips, but it's so tiny. It's like 2 millimeters or something. And that's nothing compared to a lot of other plants that I have where the leaves will like completely brown and crisp and then I have to like take them off. So it's a beautiful plant. It's very forgiving. It's easy to take care of. And I can't wait for this thing to start growing out and to cascade, just like my Cebu blue. The leaves on this plant are like works of art. They are like little abstract paintings. The pure white gives a stark contrast with the dark green. I love this half moon leaf. I hope more of these come out. Number 3 on my list is Hope, my Peperomia Hope. This is one of the cutest plants that I own. I think this thing is so adorable. I love the round leaves and they're a little bit curly even. And I love how the stems are very brown and then the leaves are green. Like the contrast between the colors is so beautiful to me. And it just makes me think of it like almost like a necklace. And this one also is extremely easy to take care of and extremely forgiving. I have this in a container that does not have drainage holes. So I let this thing completely dry out. And it might even stay dry for like days and days, maybe even more than a week. And I just don't water it because I'm afraid of giving it root rot, but it does just fine. I think because it has succulent-like leaves, it can tolerate some drought. And plants like that are my favorite, absolute favorite. And I wouldn't say that it's a really fast grower, but it's definitely not a slow grower. When I first got this, I mean, these stems here, the vines were like only this tall. And I've had it maybe since January or February this year. So I want to say that I've had this for about 8 or 9 months, and this is as much as it has grown. But that's pretty significant to me, and I just love it. It's so beautiful. And I've got it in this IKEA pot with the long stems and the little dots at the top. And I think it like is so suiting. It like fits the plant. And this plant is even very easy to propagate. And let me just show you my propagation. So here it is. I propagated this maybe about 8 or 9 months ago. And I tried to get it to climb up this stick here, but I had to tie it on, and it does not like vine up sticks as far as I know. It kind of likes to hang. But it has shot out a new vine here at the bottom. So I started with just one and now there's 2. Very cute. So if you are looking for a very easy plant that is super cute, I definitely recommend the Peperomia Hope. Peperomia Hope is a hybrid species and cannot be found in the wild. Although it is capable of blooming flowers, it is the lush coin-shaped leaves that grow in 3s or 4s that is the highlight of this plant. Number 4 on my list is my Euphorbia, white ghost. And I actually have not had this plant very long. I think it's only been a few weeks. So I really can't comment on how easy it is to take care of. I'm hoping it survives. It seems to be doing quite well though, because I do believe that this arm has grown since I got it. It feels soft and tender, so I feel like it's new growth. I'll have to look at my video of it when I first got it, but it does seem like it's much bigger now. But I chose this plant just because it is so unique and beautiful. It is one of the weirdest plants that I have, and I think it's so cool. And it kind of looks like a cactus, and I think that some people call it a white ghost cactus, but it's actually not a cactus. It is a succulent, and it's part of the Euphorbia genus. But the colors on here are just really, really pretty. And when I first got this, it had way more pastel pink, and I kind of lost some of that pink, and I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm not giving it enough light. But it's still super cute and very beautiful. And it does have spines on it, so I have to be careful not to touch it. I love touching my plants. But this is definitely one that I want to keep in my collection forever and ever. The pale color in this Euphorbia is due to a mutation that makes it less able to photosynthesize. This means that it grows slower than the ordinary green Euphorbias and is more prone to sunburn in harsh light. These tiny pink leaves do not serve much purpose for this plant. They don't live very long and they fall away. These plants can grow up to 6 feet tall in the wild. If I'm lucky, it might grow up to 3 feet tall for me in my house. Since this is not a cactus, these spiny things here are not modified leaves like they are on a cactus. These are actually thorns. I've just learned online that this plant needs bright and cool conditions to bring back the blushes of pink color. Number 5. Okay, I'm kind of cheating here. So I love my Hoya mathilde. The Hoya genus is my favorite genus of all plants. That doesn't mean that every single Hoya is my favorite plant, if that makes sense. So I love the genus so much just because there is so much variety. Like I feel like the group itself just has so much to offer. But when it comes to individual plants, there are definitely lots of plants outside of this genus that I super love so much. But anyways, this one is Hoya mathilde, and this is I think it's like a splash maybe, or I don't know if it's splash or regular. It doesn't have that much splash on it, but as you can see, it has round leaves, very similar to the Peperomia hope. But I also love my Hoya mathilde variegated. The inner variegated is so cute. It's cuter than this, and I don't know how that's possible. Maybe it's because it's still a baby. And I'm going to show you a close-up of it on the screen. It's living in my cabinet right now, and I don't want to disturb it. But it's so tiny right now. I got it as a 2-leaf propagation, and then it shot out a tiny third one. It's so small and cute. And something about the variegation, the way that it's variegated like that, it makes it like 10 times cuter, in my opinion. And so here is another very forgiving plant, very easy to take care of. I wait for the substrate to get completely dry, and sometimes it'll go dry for days, and the plant is just fine. Sometimes I will do the taco test, if you've ever heard of that. If you squeeze the leaves and they kind of like bend in, that means they're starting to get dehydrated and you should water it. So I do that every once in a while. I love feeling the leaves anyways. So I'll test it out every once in a while. And actually yesterday they did get soft, so I watered it yesterday. And this is another plant that does well in low light. So I keep this on my desk, and it's very low light over there, and it does just fine. So probably it would grow faster, maybe it would have more splash if I gave it more light. But I think it's just cute as it is, and I love having it as my companion on my desk while I work. The variegated mathilde, I'm not so sure about that one. I don't know if that is a good low light plant. It seems like the variegated plants need more light for them to keep their variegation. So that one I'm keeping right next to the window where it gets lots of indirect sunlight all day. I also have it in the cabinet, whereas this one I keep outside of the cabinet, only because it's so precious to me and it's still a baby, and I just want it to grow out before I put it out into my environment. I live in a desert and it's very dry out here, and a lot of the Hoyas do much better with more humidity, so I just want to let it grow out and become a little bit more mature before I test out its hardiness in the desert. So sorry if that's cheating. If I had to choose between the two at this point, I don't know. I don't know which one I would choose because this one is more fully grown and I've had it longer. I feel very attached to this plant. But the other one is like super, super cute and I can't wait to see it grow out. So I don't know. I don't know if I could choose between the two. Which one would you guys choose? Like I feel like I'd have to do a coin toss or something. Number 6, I almost cheated again, but I chose one. So you'll see what I'm talking about. This is the mermaid tail. It is another Hoya. It's the polyneura. And this is the inner variegated one. I have 3 Hoya polyneuras. One of them is the albo and the other one is the green. And I thought that I would like the albo more than the inner variegated one. The albo is an outer variegated, but the color is white and this one is more yellow. I don't really like yellow leaves. I much prefer like milky white. But I chose this one just because it's such a prolific grower. And it might have something to do with the substrate. This is in a different substrate than my albo one. The albo one is in the stuff that looks like caviar. What is it called again? Stratum. So I don't know, maybe stratum is good for rooting the plants, but I need to repot it and put it in a different substrate. This one is in tree fern fiber and perlite. And it has grown immensely. I got it, I think it was like 4 leaves. I can't remember at this point how many leaves it had, but it has shot out so many leaves. It even has a new vine coming out of it, way up here at the top. Let me see if I can show you up close. So there are 2 tiny leaves growing right there. And that's coming from a new vine that shot out at this node right here. So as far as like ease of care, it has been pretty easy to take care of this one, but I've had it in my cabinet because it is a precious plant to me. I want to wait until it grows out more, and I'm going to probably propagate it sooner or later just so I can have like multiple plants. I want more of a chance of survival of this plant because I don't think this was cheap. But I love the shape of the leaves. It is absolutely one of the most beautiful plants that I own in my collection. The way that it comes to a point and kind of curls like that, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And how it looks like a mermaid's tail, so cute. So definitely, if I had to get rid of 2 of my polyneuras out of the 3, I guess I could let those other ones go and I would keep this one. But if the albo was grown out as much as this one, I don't know. I might choose that one over this. But at this stage in their growth, I would keep this one. Okay, what number are we on now? 7. Number 7 on my list is my mini Monstera, Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. This is a very unique plant, I think, and I love plants with fenestrations. And this one easily fenestrates. I got it as a cutting and the leaves were already fenestrated, but they just stayed fenestrated. This is another plant that is very hardy, very forgiving. I experimented with this plant and I lost the mother plant. This is actually a top cutting of that one. I also have a mid cutting, which is doing really well, but it is super, super cute to me. And if I had to get rid of all my plants, this would definitely be one that I would keep. And if you're noticing that I have ugly pots, it is because I am in the process of making my own ceramic pots. I have over 100 plants and I can't afford to go out and like buy all of these ceramic pots. And anyways, I can't find like pots that I really, really like anyways. So I'm just gonna make them myself. And I just finished setting up my ceramic studio in my garage. So I have started to throw. I've got one water dish that I've made so far, but it needs to be fired. I've got some pots also that I've made that I need to just like glaze and then do the glaze firing for those. And I can't wait to see my plants in them, but that's why I've got all my plants in these ugly plastic containers. So please excuse me for that. Number 8 on my list is Begonia, and one of you has informed me that this is the Begonia maculata. I did not know the specific species name of this begonia when I got it. If it's the maculata, that's awesome because I had been wanting a Begonia maculata, but I thought that the spots were much bigger and white. These are small and silvery, but it does have the red undersides on the leaves, so maybe it is the maculata. Either way, it is one of my very, very favorite plants, and it is at the top of my list. So this one, I have just recently chopped it up because it got so large that it fell over. It outgrew its pot. And like I said, I am in the process of making my ceramic pots. So I need to make a big, heavy one for this because this thing grows like crazy. I have 2 cuttings of this now that I'm trying to propagate. And then I also have the mother plant. So I'm going to have 3 of these things, and look how huge the leaves are. That's longer than my hand. And the stems are practically like stalks. They're so thick, but it's very, very beautiful plant, and it's a fast grower. I think it's a very hardy plant. And also someone gave this to me, so that makes it very special to me. So definitely, if I had to get rid of all my plants, I mean, this is in my top 3. So this is definitely one of the plants that I would try to keep no matter what. Number 2. So this next plant is kind of stuck where it's at. I'm not able to bring it here to show it to you, but I'm going to put it on screen for you. I'll do a close-up. This is also a Hoya, and it is one of the top 2 plants on this list, partly because of the way that I'm growing it. So maybe 6 months down the line, when another one of my Hoyas starts to grow out, I might choose another Hoya over this one. But at this stage in its life, in its growth pattern, the way that it's growing right now, up the stick, I think this is one of the coolest Hoyas that I have right now. I gave it this 8-foot long stick that I got from my backyard, and overnight it started to coil around the stick by itself. And it has continued to grow and coil up and up the stick. And the vines, there's 2 vines going up, had only a few leaves on them when I first got it. And now you can see in the video, it has shot out all of these new leaves. I think it's so neat. I love how it's climbing up like this. It's so fun. It makes it a really fun plant to me. And I have this one in a self-watering setup, so extremely, extremely easy to take care of. When I see that the water cache has completely dried out, then I know it's time to water it again. And I really don't know how often I'm watering this plant, every 2 weeks. Like, I honestly don't know. This plant is thriving off of neglect. And I get to reap the benefits of it and enjoy its beauty. Did I say what it's called? I'll have to put it on screen because I never remember. It's a hybrid of 2 different Hoyas. So I will look it up and I'll put it on the screen for you. Number 1 on my list, if I had to get rid of all 100 plus plants and I could only keep one, if you have seen my previous videos, maybe you know the answer to this. And it's been with us all along, and here it is. My Thai constellation. So even though the Hoyas are my favorite genus, like I said, they have a lot to offer. The group itself has a lot to offer. My very number 1 favorite plant right now is this Monstera. I think it has so much character. Let me pull it out. So this is what it looks like in the front. And I don't know why this last leaf decided to grow out backwards like this. I've been giving it only 1 light source. It's in my bathroom. And I mean, it's this side, but for some reason, this one decided it to be backwards. Which I guess it works because it's in front of my shower on my bathtub. So when I'm taking a shower, there's glass, I can see this leaf. So I get to enjoy the beauty of this leaf while I'm showering. And then the plant gets the sunlight this way from the window. But here's another very forgiving plant. I mean, I think it can suffer root rot pretty easily if you overwater it. But like I said, I am an underwaterer, so this does just fine under my care. And because this is so precious to me, and I think it is the most expensive plant that I have, I spent maybe $45 on it. I use a water meter with this. So I put the water meter in the soil. I make sure that it's dry before I give it its next watering. When I first got it, I think this was the largest leaf on it, and I thought it was pretty big. But then it kept shooting out these new leaves, and they are much bigger than that one. And I think it's pretty cool. So far, it doesn't need a stake just yet. So I don't know what's gonna happen when it starts to get really big and need a stake. I might chop it. I don't know if I wanna grow this on a stake. I'm not really into like huge plants. I mean, I do love them if I had someone else in my house taking care of them, but I don't wanna have to deal with like gigantic plants. I'd rather keep like my plants smaller, just because that's all I'm capable of. That's all I want to do. So eventually in the future, I might just have like multiple plants of this, and they'll just be smaller Monsteras. I have seen people with huge Monsteras. I've seen huge Monsteras in the wild. They get so large. But again, it's very easy to take care of. I wouldn't say that it thrives on neglect because I definitely do not neglect this. It's in my bathroom. I see it every single day. And I kind of have a feeling when the soil starts to dry out, and so I'll put the water meter in there to check. But I don't let it go dry too long because I think the leaves will brown on this one, and I don't want that to happen because that's unrecoverable. Once the leaves go brown, it stays brown forever, which is one thing I love about the Hoyas. The Hoyas, So far, most of them do not brown. They get soft or wrinkly, but when you water them, they plump back up. I love that about a plant, the resilience. But this plant was totally worth the money. It was so worth it. I think you can find these cheaper nowadays, which is fine. I feel like I got really lucky with this one because it has beautiful sectoral variegation. I love it so much. And there is a new leaf coming out right there. It's very slow growing though, for me anyways. So that is my last plant, my number one plant. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. I would love to hear what your number one or top three plants are that you can never live without. And thank you so much for watching and being here with me. And those of you who have already joined my community, if you're watching this, thank you so much for being with me in the community. Mwah! You guys are the best. All right, have a great week and enjoy your plants.